Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, from wherever you're joining us, and welcome to today's low flow anesthesia virtual demo. Before I welcome Jordan to the floor, I wanted to cover a few housekeeping notes to help you all get the most out of your experience today. First, take a look at the interactivity panel at the right of your screen with four tabs: chat, Q&A, polls, and handouts. We want this to be an interactive experience for you, so please send your questions, thoughts, and comments using the Q&A tab, and we'll try to address as many of your questions as we can at the end of the demo today. When a question is added in the Q&A panel, you can upvote the question to increase its position on my list by clicking a thumbs up button underneath it. This is always helpful so I know which questions to address first. You can also explore some links and documents in the Handouts tab to learn more. And lastly, if you're having any technical issues, please try to refresh your browser and ensure that you're using Google Chrome to access this event, as it is the most stable browser. If you're still having trouble after you refresh, you can use the private chat function to communicate with me by sending a chat to Sydney, and I'll help you to troubleshoot. Now, before we continue, I'd like to launch a couple of polls for you all to participate in. So our first one here is, do you regularly find the need to provide supplemental oxygen during your surgeries? Your options today are always, sometimes, or rarely. We really appreciate your participation in these polls. And we are seeing some results coming in, so thank you all for participating. All right, and let's move on to our second poll. Which anesthetic do you usually use? Your options here are isoflurane, sevoflurane, or injectable. If you do end up missing any of these polls, you can always return back to the polls tab to submit your answers there. And thank you so much, everyone, for participating. I'm pleased to now welcome Jordan to the floor. Hello, Jordan. Please take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan, and I'm your regional sales and support representative for Kent Scientific, based in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you for joining me for this webinar and giving me the opportunity to present to you. A huge thank you also to Sydney and Inside Scientific for all their help in putting together this webinar and making everything run as smoothly as possible. Today, I will be speaking to you about the Somno Suite and Somno Flow systems, which are the low-flow electronic vaporizer anesthesia systems from Kent Scientific. Although they are two different systems with their own unique features and benefits, both use innovative technology to deliver anesthesia precisely and safely. Both the Somno Suite and Somno Flow low-flow electronic vaporizer systems provide advantages over traditional high-flow vaporizers. Anesthetic concentration and flow rate delivery is based on animal weight. Traditional canister-style vaporizers contain wicks, dials, and other moving parts that need to be calibrated, recertified to maintain accuracy. Both the Somno Suite and Somno Flow use solid-state electronics to ensure accuracy and do not require annual recertification. This precise delivery ensures both animal and user safety. Another benefit of these systems is that they allow you to use either compressed gas or ambient air as your carrier gas. This is a great feature to have, especially if your procedures do not require oxygen. The lack of space needed for gas tanks, or get tired of people stealing your gas tanks and leaving them empty on you. The Somno Flow from Kent Scientific is a compact standalone anesthesia delivery system that utilizes either ambient air or compressed gas as a carrier for the anesthesia. It measures 6 by 6 by 9 and weighs around 5 pounds. This makes it easy to transport and set up anywhere, such as a benchtop or in a hood. The Somno Flow sources the anesthesia directly from the bottle and primes automatically, allowing you to start your procedures soon after powering on the system. The SomnoFlow gives you the choice to either use ambient air or compressed gas as your carrier for the anesthesia. The SomnoFlow achieves a flow rate as low as 50 milliliters per minute, matching close to a minute volume of a mouse compared to traditional vaporizers. This leads to less waste gas exposure and increases safety to the users, while decreasing the amount of anesthesia and waste gas filters used over time. The SomnoFlow does not rely on a wick-based delivery system as seen in traditional vaporizers. The SomnoFlow uses computer algorithms and onboard software to continuously control the delivery of isoflurane into the electronic vaporizer. Because of this, there is no need for annual calibration or certification, cutting down on your yearly costs. I'll now play a video about the SomnoFlow. I hope you enjoy.
This video will provide the instructions necessary to set up and begin using the Kent Scientific SomnoFlow low-flow electronic vaporizer. We'll take you through setup requirements, equipment use, and a protocol for anesthetizing an average-size C57 BL6 mouse. Along the way, we'll highlight some of the features that will benefit you in your research. Setup instructions are also provided in the user's guide. To begin setting up the SomnoFlow, connect the inspiratory portion of the to accessory connector to the SomnoFlow's port labeled out. Connect the inspiratory portion of the face mask tubing to one branch and the inspiratory chamber tubing to the other branch. Connect the expiratory portion of the to accessory connector to the expiratory tubing on the chamber and nose cone. If using a stereotaxic frame, select one of the included stereotaxic adapters to attach to the two accessory connectors on the ports of your stereotaxic gas anesthesia mask. Attach the charcoal canister using the charcoal canister tubing. The SomnoFlow can deliver anesthesia without the need for compressed gas. If you're using ambient air from the system's internal pump, leave the air inlet open. If you wish to use a compressed gas source, use the compressed gas assembly to connect a pressure-regulated gas source to the SomnoFlow's compressed gas port. The inlet pressure should not exceed 15 psi. Connect the included bottle top adapter to a bottle of anesthetic. Connect the delivery tubing to the bottle top adapter and place the anesthetic bottle into the holder. Turn on the SomnoFlow to begin the automatic priming sequence. The system will draw anesthetic directly from the bottle and prepare the system for delivery. Once priming is complete, touch Menu to enter the preset settings. There are 3 presets available to save your preferred settings. Low flow is best used for anesthetic maintenance, high flow is best used for induction, and purge is best used to reduce excess anesthetic in the induction chamber. The SomnoFlow will save all of your settings, but you can return to this menu at any time to adjust the preset options. Even though you have entered flow rates and anesthetic concentrations for each phase, you can still adjust these parameters during anesthesia delivery from the run screen. Now that your tubing is set up and settings are saved, you're ready to begin anesthetizing an animal. Adjust the clips to direct airflow to the induction chamber. Place the animal in the induction chamber and touch high flow. The SomnoFlow will begin delivery at the settings you've selected in your high flow presets. Use the dials to make adjustments to the flow rate or anesthetic concentration as needed. When the animal is fully anesthetized, touch high flow again to stop delivery. If desired, purge the chamber using the purge feature. Remove the animal from the chamber and position on the nose cone. Be sure to adjust the clips to direct the airflow to the nose cone. Touch low flow to resume anesthetic delivery. When you're finished with the procedure, touch low flow again to stop delivery and recover the animal. When you're finished using the system for the day, touch Menu, Anesthetic Control, and Empty to empty the anesthetic from the Somno flow. Once complete, you may remove the anesthetic bottle from the system. Remove the bottle top adapter and replace the manufacturer's cap onto the anesthetic bottle.
I will now take you through various Somno flow system setups. The diagram insert displays a typical setup with an induction chamber and a face mask using a 2 accessory adapter. Anesthesia outlet marked in blue is the inspiratory line. This line comes from the Somno flow and splits into 2 branches, each leading to either the induction chamber or the mask. Exiting the induction chamber and mask is the expiratory line marked in red. This line passively carries waste gases to the waste gas canister. If you choose to connect your Somno flow to compressed gas, the incoming pressure from the compressed gas tank must not be higher than 15 psi in order for the Somno flow to work properly. In the smaller diagram, a preset pressure reducer is connected between the compressed gas tank and the Somno flow to bring the pressure down to 15 psi. If you do choose to use compressed gas, we are happy to assist with your setup. This diagram shows how a 3 accessory adapter can be used to connect the Somno flow to 1 induction chamber and 2 face masks, giving you an additional station to work from. You can deliver to 1, 2, or all 3 delivery sites shown on the slide by adjusting the tubing clips. For studies and procedures utilizing a ventilator, this diagram shows you how to connect the Somno flow to a standalone ventilator system, such as the Rovent ventilator from Kent Scientific. If you are performing stereotaxic surgeries, the Somno flow can also interface with your stereotaxic frames. Now we'll move on to the Somno Suite. The Somno Suite is a compact low-flow anesthesia system that uses a precise syringe pump to deliver precise amounts of anesthesia. Measuring 11 by 8 by 3 and weighing about 4 pounds, the system is light and portable, allowing you to set it up on a benchtop or in a hood. As mentioned previously, its integrated electronic vaporizer can use either ambient air or compressed gas to deliver anesthesia based on the animal's weight. Because low flow rates require small amounts of anesthetic, you save on the amount of anesthetic and compressed gas used and the amount of waste gas canisters that are used. All Somno suites are equipped with the right temp module, a warming temperature monitoring and homeothermic control that uses far infrared warming. But you can outfit your Somno suite with additional physiological modules depending on your needs. We'll discuss that more later. The Somno suite has an intuitive touchscreen control. Both the flow rate and anesthesia percentage are shown in large numbers. Along the top are tabs for the additional modules that can be added. Remove button for when you need to fill your syringe. Glass syringe is filled with anesthetic. Prime button for preparing the pusher block to deliver the anesthesia. When you are ready to anesthetize your animal, you will touch deliver to deliver the anesthesia, plus either the nose cone or induction buttons to turn on the flow. Both the nose cone and induction buttons can be preset in the setup tab. When you are ready to remove the animal from the induction chamber, the flush button will deliver air with no anesthesia or waste gas exposure. Additional modules can be added to the Somno suite without increasing the footprint of the device. The mouse tap module for heart rate and pulse oximetry, the Rovent for ventilation, and the Capno scan for end tidal CO2 monitoring. Depending on your needs, you can add as many or as little as you want, making the Somno Suite a pretty nifty all-in-one tool for you. Every Somno Suite is delivered with the right temp module, which is a far infrared homeothermic warming system. I will now play a video about the Somno Suite. I hope you enjoy.
Kent Scientific's low-flow electronic vaporizers offer numerous benefits compared to traditional vaporizer systems. Both the SomnoFlow and SomnoSuite systems offer high precision, increased safety for personnel and animals, and significant annual cost savings. With an electronic touchscreen interface, both systems allow precise control of anesthetic output to 0.1%. Traditional vaporizers rely on passive vaporization of anesthetics and require minimum flow rates and annual calibration services to maintain their accuracy. The SomnoSuite and SomnoFlow systems are programmed with a gram to mole conversion of liquid anesthetic. The system automatically determines the volume of anesthetic required to reach the desired concentration in the carrier gas stream. Because anesthetic delivery is mathematically driven and there are no wicks or gaskets to service, no annual calibration or certifications are required. Both of our Somno low-flow electronic vaporizers can be connected to a compressed gas source, but neither require the use of compressed gas to deliver inhalant anesthetics. Their included internal pump draws in ambient air, giving users the option to anesthetize animals in settings where gas tanks are not available or not feasible to use. The SomnoSuite is designed as an all-in-one modular surgical solution and can be programmed with integrated warming, pulse oximeter, ventilator, and capnography capabilities. This eliminates the need for multiple controllers and separate computers in the surgical suite.
This protocol highlights best uses for an all-inclusive anesthesia and physiological monitoring suite that includes a low-flow electronic vaporizer, an integrated ventilator, a pulse oximeter, and a far-infrared warming pad.
Kent Scientific's Somno electronic vaporizers have several advantages over traditional anesthesia systems, including an integrated internal pump, increased precision, less waste gas, and no annual maintenance requirements. For more information about the SomnoFlow and SomnoSuite systems, please contact your local Kent Scientific representative.
I will now take you through various SomnoSuite system setups. The diagram insert displays a typical setup with an induction chamber and a face mask using two accessory adapter. Anesthesia outlet marked in blue is the inspiratory line. This line comes from the vaporizer block and splits into two branches, each leading to either the induction chamber or the mask. Exiting the induction chamber and the mask is the expiratory line and marked in red. This line passively carries waste gas to the waste gas canister. If you choose to connect your SomnoSuite to compressed gas, the incoming pressure from the compressed gas tank must not be higher than 15 psi in order for the SomnoSuite to work properly. In the smaller diagram, a preset pressure reducer is connected between the compressed gas tank and the SomnoSuite to bring the pressure down to 15 psi. If you do choose to use compressed gas, we are happy to assist with the setup. This diagram shows how a 3 accessory adapter can be used to connect the SomnoSuite to one induction chamber and two face masks, giving an additional station to work from. You can deliver to 1, 2, or all 3 delivery sites shown on the slide by adjusting the tubing clips. For studies and procedures utilizing a ventilator, this diagram shows you how to connect the SomnoSuite to a standalone ventilator, such as the Rovent ventilator from Kent Scientific. If you are performing stereotaxic surgeries, the SomnoSuite can also interface with your stereotaxic frames. Throughout this presentation, you have seen the features and benefits of your low-flow anesthesia systems. They are simple to use and are able to deliver precise amounts of anesthesia. The safety benefit of the SomnoSuite and SomnoFlow come from the small amounts of anesthetic used. Using less anesthetic produces less waste in anesthesia gases, leading to greater safety for both your animals and operators. We will now enter our question portion of our presentation.
Thanks, Jordan. I'm actually going to give you a second to catch your breath while I run one last poll for our audience. Okay, our final question today. What physiological parameters do you currently monitor during your surgeries? Heart rate, pulse oximetry, blood pressure, ECG, temperature, or end tidal CO2? And while you are all answering that, I wanted to draw your attention to the handouts tab again. There are some great resources in there to help you learn more about the systems that Jordan presented today. Additionally, if you have to leave early, I just wanted to pop up our survey link here. If you could take a moment to provide your feedback here before you go, we really appreciate your insights. Okay. Thank you again, everyone, for participating in the polls. And now I'm going to bring you back in, Jordan. Let's kick off our Q&A session.
The first question is, does the Somno Flow system alert you when the bottle is running low on ISO? So the Somno Flow contains a calculator that measures the amount of total isoflurane used. So it does not weigh the bottle or measure the amount of isoflurane left in the bottle, but you can see the usage gauge on the front of the system, or usage amount, and you should check that before, or check the bottle before every use.
Thanks, Jordan. We have another question asking what the largest animal can be anesthetized using the Somno Flow. If we're trying to anesthetize rats, would we have greater success with supplemental oxygen?
Sure. So the largest animal weight the system can use, both the Somno Suite and Somno Flow, is 1.2 kilograms. This varies a little bit if you're using a stereotaxic stand. If you're going to be using oxygen, we recommend you follow your protocols. If you're using longer surgeries, we also recommend oxygen, sometimes over the space of, or the duration of 2 hours. But we recommend discussing with your vet staff and keeping to your protocols.
Excellent. Thank you. Is electrical power needed for anesthesia delivery? And what would somebody do if power were to get interrupted?
Sure. So the system does require power. It uses a standard 12-volt power supply. If you were to experience power interruption, the system would automatically power back on, and then you can start your anesthetic delivery right away again. The system can also run off a backup battery, such as the portable batteries that you would see, such as a battery backup for a computer or something smaller than that. And it can run up to, depending on the size, of 20 hours. I know it can run up to 20 hours on the backup battery that we have on our website available.
That's excellent. Thank you. Do you need to detach the bottle from the Somno Flow in between uses?
You do not. It is a completely airtight system, so no leaking or evaporation will occur. It really just depends if you want to use the bottle for other vaporizers. Many times you recommend that when you have a Somno Flow, just use a brand new bottle, attach it, and just leave it until it's empty. And it will last you a long time.
Okay, that's great. Does the Somno Flow alert you when the bottle is running low on isoflurane?
So it will chirp at you or make a beep sound when the preset value or alarm is set. So the system has 2 alarms. It measures amount of delivery. And so if it's, let's say, set at 1 milliliter, every time you use a milliliter, it'll give you a small beep, kind of sounds like a chirp. And then you can set the total delivery for 200 or any value you like. And then it will give you a large beep once you've used that amount. I think the system comes with it preset at 200 milliliters per minute for delivery. And so once you hit the 200 milliliters, it'll give you a big beep.
That's great. Thank you. Is there a filter recommended for the ambient airflow in order to prevent airborne contaminants from entering the lines?
There's not a set filter recommended. You just want to make sure that the filter does not inhibit airflow too much. But air filters can be used.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. What is the average duration that tubing and glass syringes last for the system? Roughly when would you recommend investing in a new system? And then part 2, are there any warranties on tubing or syringes for the systems?
Sure. So the life of the tubing and the syringes for the Somno suite are in the Somno Flow, even though the Somno Flow does not use syringes. They come with the warranty question first. Comes with a 1-year warranty. Kind of no questions asked, except for I believe flooding fires and electrical fires, I think. The actual tubing itself will last a long time. We have users using the Somno Flow for over 10 years and are still using the same syringes as well. As long as they're cared for properly, they will last a long time.
Okay, that's good news. Thank you. Let me see. Can the Somno Flow and Somno Suite be easily transferred to a different station?
Yes, they can. They're both very light and very portable. The Somno Flow can also be mounted to a pole stand if you want. It has 2 holes in the back that allow it to be attached to a traditional anesthesia stand that we provide. That will make it heavier though, but the system itself is very light. So as I said, the Somno Suite's 4 pounds, Somno Flow is 5 pounds, and the Somno Flow has a handle on the top, so it's very easy to move around without putting on a stand or anything.
Fantastic. That's great. Can you explain general maintenance required for replacing the hoses, other minor parts of the system?
Sure. So the main maintenance points we find are there's a small tube on the front of the Somno suite that runs from the syringe to the black vaporizer block. You want to make sure that does not get kinked or wound up, because after a lot of use, that will become, if it gets too kinked, it will start to leak, which then would require replacement. But it's very easy to not kink up. You just make sure it doesn't get spiraled up. In terms of maintenance for the tubing, for the pinch clips, on a weekly basis, you just want to make sure that you move the pinch clips up and down the tubing. The tubing is silicone, so it does have memory. So if you clip in the same place over a long period of time, it will eventually start to stick together. If you don't like the pinch clips, we do also offer a electronic flow diverter now called the Somno Path. Currently, it allows for only 2-way delivery, 1 line at a time, but we are coming out with a multi-flow system. So that instead of the clips, you would push the button and it directs the flow.
Okay, that's great. Very interesting. I just want to remind everyone, please continue to submit your questions. We do still have some time, so I'm hoping that we can get a few more questions in from you all. So regarding anesthesia only, so not focus on monitoring, what would be the main difference between the Somno Flow and Somno Suite?
Sure. The main difference between the two is the way the isoflurane or anesthesia is delivered to the system. So on the Somno Suite, you comes with a special bottle top adapter that you can attach the syringe to and then fill it up. And then you would attach the syringe, you would put the syringe in the system, placed in the pusher block, and then attach that little tube on the front to the syringe. While a Somno Flow, you just attach the bottle directly to it, and then it takes care of the rest for you once you power it on. The also difference is the Somno Flow goes from 50 milliliters per minute up to 1 liter, while the Somno Suite can go down to 25 milliliters per minute up to 1 liter.
All right, that was very clear. Thank you so much. We have another question about whether there is an alarm system if the pressure is too high or low.
The system will fail to deliver air, and once you start the airflow, it'll start beeping at you and provide an error message on the bottom of the screen.
That's fantastic. Very helpful. If we're not using any radioactive material, how would you clean the Somno Suite?
Sure. The Somno suite, the outside can be cleaned with standard lab cleaner, and both the system's internals can be cleaned with any sort of or standard lab vaporized disinfectant, such as vaporized hydrogen peroxide. You just attach it up to the air ports. Do not autoclave them, please.
Thank you for specifying that, because I'm sure that's the usual go-to, perhaps. Okay, if someone's using a 5-way diverter to, say, 5 nose cones, will the machine automatically deliver enough anesthesia for the multiple animals, or should the flow rate be increased?
You will want to increase the flow rate to make sure you're using a high enough flow rate for all the total animal body weight on the system. So let's say you're using, you're using mice, and your mice total body weight, let's say, is 200 grams for the 5 mice. You'd want to make sure you set the system to when you're entering the body weight on the Somno suite or on the Somno flow. When you're setting the flow, it says approximate body weight underneath, set it to 200 grams. And it's always safe to go a little bit higher, maybe 20 or 30 milliliters higher, just to make sure that proper airflow is being delivered. Because you have to remember that the airflow is being divided by 5. So as long as the weight is good, or the weight-based flow is good, you should be fine.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, if you do have specific questions about your application and your setup in your lab, Jordan's email is up on the screen, so you can reach out to him, and he'll be more than happy to help you. We do still have some more questions, so this is great. Keep them coming, everyone. Can the flow rate to the nose cone be adjusted while maintaining the flow rate to the chamber?
So the answer is yes. With our current systems, you would just leave the pinch clips open, so they can't be adjusted separately. But you can adjust the flow rate, and it will adjust the chamber and the nose cone flow rate as well. So it is a common use to use both the induction chamber and nose cone at the same time. You would just need to use, if you're having an animal in the chamber and nose cone at the same time, after the induction flow rate, you move it over to the nose cone flow rate, and then you just use the total animal body weight as well.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. We have another question regarding the Somno Suite syringe. What is the capacity of isoflurane that can be loaded, and how long does that last at max usage for anesthesia?
Sure. So we have 2 different syringe options. We have a 5 milliliter syringe and a 10 milliliter syringe. The usage really depends on, I guess, your anesthetic percentage and airflow rate. The best way to look at that, we have a chart present on our website. If you go to the Somno Suite page and then look under the blue box that says support documents, there will be a Somno Suite syringe duration file there that you can download, and that'll show you a graph or a chart that shows you the different syringe sizes, anesthetic percentage, and airflow rates, and that shows you in the amount of hours it'll last for. You can also email us, and I'll be happy to send it over to you.
It's very helpful. Thank you so much. Okay, can the system be gas sterilized? If
Yes, it
not, okay, I was going to say, if not, how would you clean it?
Yeah, the system can be gas sterilized. Besides that, that's the best way to clean the insides. Like I said, outside you can clean everything with your normal lab cleaner, disinfectant.
Okay, that's very easy and very helpful. Thank you so much. It does look like that's our last question. If anyone has any final questions, you should send them in now. In the meantime, just a reminder, if you do want to participate in one of the polls that you missed, you can still access that in the polls tab as well. There are a ton of helpful resources in the handouts tab, some PDF charts, and even a video library that Kent has on their website. So I really recommend you check that out. Okay, I think this may be the last question, so let's address this one. If you're using the Somno flow under a ventilated procedure hood with the ambient air intake, will the ambient air intake be affected by the hood's airflow?
So this is a good question. The ambient air intake will not be affected, but the nose cone delivery flow rate will be affected. So what that means is if you have a vacuum, pulling air from the outside, there's a chance that the air will, or that the hood will pull the anesthetic away from the nose cone. So to overcome this, you'll need to use a little higher flow rate. Instead of, let's say you're using a mouse, instead of using 30 for a 30-gram mouse, you'd use about a 60 milliliters per minute. You might want to use up closer to 100 or 150, depending on your cabinet or your hood's flow rate.
Fantastic. Okay. We did have one last one come in. Does Kent provide a cleaning kit for maintenance?
We do not provide a cleaning kit for maintenance. Like I said, the standard lab cleaners are good enough for it. So that is a good idea.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, well, we're going to end it there. Thank you so much, Jordan, for your insights and your knowledge. It was a pleasure to have you with us. Just want to remind the audience that you can jot down Jordan's email or phone number for those last questions that are coming in now. Feel free to reach out to him directly and he'll be sure to help you out. Thank you again, Jordan.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Okay, and I just want to thank our live audience. We know that you have busy schedules, so we really do appreciate you being here live, and I hope that you enjoyed your experience today. In closing, we hope that you enjoyed this Inside Scientific virtual demo produced in partnership with Kent Scientific, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.